The next session we've got is how to write a viral tweet, creative techniques that will wow your audience. Now, this lady definitely knows what she's talking about. I'm delighted to introduce Helen Reynolds.
Hello, hi everyone. I've just had the pleasure of seeing that lovely video, which was amazing. And see lots of clips of my chest getting really red. So any of you who have ever done public speaking before may or may not relate to me, but when I get excited, I get the little patches on my chest. So you'll see a little bit coming now. It'll grow through the session. I just thought I would point this out, that actually it's such a fun experience to talk to people at a great event like this, and we're all human, right? I just thought I'd start with a little bit of imposter syndrome pushing down. Once you've noticed it, I can move on. Right, I'm going to talk about how to write a viral tweet. I hope that you don't find this too clickbaity a session, or at least a title. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my background, and then we're going to talk about basically how do you just tweet better? How do you get tweets that really make your audience love you? We're not necessarily going to look at techniques for how to get 5,000 retweets in 10 seconds, because that isn't something that you can control. But we're going to have a look at some really good creative stuff, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. So I'm Helen Reynolds. If you don't know me, I'm kind of a bit of a Twitter obsessive. I've been on there for well over 10 years now. And my background was in local government. So I started off being like a press officer in local government back in the day. And when MySpace came around, I got the council, Monmouthshire County Council, give them a shout out, in Wales. I got the council onto MySpace. And I spent 10 years in the council kind of growing from someone who was just kind of a general communicator, very press focused, to in charge of all of the social media website and communication stuff that was about community building. And it's been my kind of honor, I suppose, to be with it from the beginning and work things out as I go along. I left that job 7-8 years ago, and I've been running Comms Creatives now with my sister, and we are doing amazing online courses that help communications professionals and marketing professionals to do better social media. That's basically it, and much more creative. So yeah, what I'm going to talk, like, your idea and your definition of viral might be really different from mine. So yeah, we're going to talk about how to write a viral tweet, but sometimes you can get this kind of resistance because you know that it's not possible. And I do lots of little cartoons. They're my way of kind of talking about the pain of the job of a social media manager and talking about some of the realities that we all face. So those of you who create content, whether it's for a client or whether it's for your bosses, for a big brand or for a tiny charity, you may have experienced this. So it's this idea of someone saying, I want you to make this go viral for me. What is it? It's my strategic framework for engaging stakeholders, which is basically kind of the most boring piece of document that you could ever possibly be asked to promote. And the punchline is here, you just couldn't ever make that go viral, could you? Our job sometimes is about trying to make really dry things engage our audiences. So we can't make that kind of stuff go viral. But what we can do is consistently get strong engagement from the right audiences. That is something that I specialise in. It's something that helps to build our business at Comms Creatives. And we have online training that helps people to really understand that it's not always about getting those huge audiences. Like, who cares if you've got 100,000 Twitter followers if you've bought them or if they are not relevant to what it is that you're trying to promote, or the community that you're trying to engage. You want the right people consistently giving you strong engagement and caring about what you do. So that's what I'm going to talk about. And then I'm going to randomly throw in a small video of David Hasselhoff. So if you don't want to know about the tweets, you're still going to hang around because you want to know why. Why is the Hoff involved? Okay, so here is what I think. 50 tweets that each get 250 likes, hands down beats one tweet that gets 10,000 likes. So we all have this desire to have a great big hit, the kind of viral tweet that's going to go down in history. But actually, if you consistently get a big audience to, a sizable audience to really care and like about what you're doing, it'll give you much better results. So when you get a viral tweet and you have one tweet that's let's say 10,000 likes on it and all the retweets, not every one of those people is going to follow you or ever hear from you again. They liked it, they saw it, they moved on. So it can be nice, but you can't always necessarily get much benefit from it. It's kind of, apart from the PR value. When you've got 50 tweets, each with hundreds of likes on there, meaningful engagement and comments from people who are exactly the right audience, that translates into changed behavior if you're working for public service or charities, which are a lot of the kind of organizations that I work with. That translates into sales if you're a retail company, or like Comms Creatives, if you're looking to get more and more people to join your courses. This is much more valuable to us. So we're going to look at the kind of tweets that get the hundreds of likes, the absolute comments that make people feel like they just want to be chatting to you and you get it, you get them. And this is kind of the beginning part of that community building process that you'll go through. So for me, when I'm trying to attract the right people to my business, I'm always trying to just get people to know me, to know the business. Me and Leslie, my sister who run the business, we just want to get people to know that we exist, first of all. Then you want to get them to like you. And then you want to get them to trust you, that you're good at what you do. Then you can ask them to act. So what we're talking about here is, how do you create tweets and get people to know you and like you? The first part of that little model. So there is a two-step secret. There are many ways to do this, by the way. I'm going to talk to you about one creative technique that is a two-step secret to how we get all the engagement that we get on our tweets when we work with. We don't do that many. We do a lot of training, and we do usually about 2 or 3 campaigns or social media strategy work with particular kinds of organization, usually not for profit. And this always works. So number one, I'm going to take you through how you do this, and we'll think a little bit, and do get into the comments and I can chat to you afterwards about how you might do it for your brand. The number one part of this process to write a viral tweet in this creative way is to be curious, right? So you want to find or steal an unrelated format. You want to go find a thing that makes you go, ooh, that's interesting, and start thinking about it a bit harder. So I will give you an example of this. Then you want to focus. So you want to be obsessively, radically, never-ending, empathetic feelings for your audience. If you don't understand your audience, if you don't know your audience, you can't do this. So you've really got to do this work first. But for us at Comms Creatives, it's easy. Our audience is social media managers, it's corporate communications and marketing professionals. So we are obsessive about thinking about them, always wondering about what they're going through, asking them how they feel about things, what they laugh at, what irritates them. And this works for all sorts of different kinds of brands. So we have people on our online courses who are from wide-ranging kinds of fields. We've got like an HR, B2B kind of agency in there, and they radically, like obsessively think about HR people. Higher recruitment people have a particular kind of world and culture and things that annoy them and make them laugh. That we also have like councils who'll be thinking about local people and what they like and what they do. So this is the second part of it. So I'm going to take you through how you take this process. Number one, curiosity. Number 2, focus. And apply it to stuff. I'll show you how I've used it as well. This is quite different. So if you Google it, like if you look for information, how to have a viral tweet, how to have lots of engagement on your tweet, you'll get things like use hashtags, put a link in, other stuff that doesn't work. You know, a hashtag is not going to make you go viral, for God's sake. If that was the case, we'd all just be putting hashtags in, unless you've got Susan album party. So I'm going to go back and show you this.
I get one down in a second if you wait. Sometimes I think sitting on trains. Every step I get to, I'm cooking again. Everyone's a winner, we're making our fame. Bonafide hustler, making my name.
The first thing that I thought when I saw this is, oh my God, this is fun. They're skating in a skate park. And because I'm curious, that's what I saw, right? So I thought, how can I use this? How can I use it? I love it. The first part was the curiosity. I'm just on TikTok looking at stuff and I saw this and I liked it. My second part is to focus and radically obsess about my audience. So I saw this and thought, right, this is kind of a video of people sliding all over the place away from camera. So what does my audience slide in their chair away from? What makes them get in their wheelie chair and move? So this is what I thought of. I took the video. Obviously, it's credited when you're in TikTok. I embedded it into a tweet and I said, the social media manager edging away when a colleague says their audience is everyone. So I took that thought of, what is this and how can I apply it to a situation that my audience has found themselves in? And this kind of post is brilliant for getting people to know you because they see themselves in it. If you want to ever have a social media post that captures people's attention, you want people to feel like they see themselves in your tweet. So if you've ever experienced this, or if you saw this tweet, then do let me know. The principle of this is you go, ooh, that's interesting. How might I apply this to my audience? When you get it right, this kind of tweet, and I'll show you some more examples of it in a sec, but when you get it right, you'll get the "this is my life" response in the comments. When people tell you, oh my God, this is my life, what they're saying is, you get me, you understand me. And when people feel that you understand them, they're much more likely to do the thing that you want them to do. Whether you're a political party, whether you're like me and you want to get more people on your courses, whether you're a small county council and you want to get people to exercise more, it doesn't really matter what it is. You just want people to feel that you relate to them, that you understand them. That's the first step in getting them to trust you. So here's an example of the kind of things that people will say, literally my life. I've never seen my life illustrated in an infographic before. Story of my life. This is my life. This is me. This is my favorite kind of response to get to any kind of content that we'll put out on Twitter, particularly because Twitter is my favorite. I'll just put it out there. And actually some of this stuff will work on LinkedIn and other places as well if you understand your audience and what they want to talk about there as well. But the "this is my life" comment is exactly what you want. It's exactly the kind of thing that allows people to want to share it, to show other people who they are. And it's not, it's not just the kind of brands that we work with, lots of, like not-for-profit and government brands. All the best brands will do this with the best social media. So Innocent do this all the time. They'll go, ooh, interesting, it's Potato Day. How can we make this into something that our audience will relate to? And then, this tweet's an example of the fact that nobody really wants boiled potatoes. Like, it's the bottom of the potato pile. KFC, ooh, A-level results. Like, how can we radically empathize with our audience who might be thinking, oh my God, I haven't got the results that I want. Everyone does this really well. If you want to go and take a masterclass on people that do this well, Greg's is my favorite. They do it often. It's almost like they have seen this session back in time. Yeah, breakups are hard, but if you ever had your heart set on the last steak bake and the person in front of you orders it. So it's just getting into the minds of their audience of quite young people, might be in relationships and been hurt by relationships, but have been hurt by missing out on that steak bake in the queue as well. So here's another example of how I've done this. I saw this story in a Twitter moment. So I was on Twitter and I saw this story, and it was this fun. I thought it was funny. I mean, it's not funny to the person who owns the piece of art. But if you look at the image on the left, that's an original painting that was given to an art restorer. And unfortunately, the two on the right are the two efforts that this art restorer made in restoring it back to its natural beauty. And I just saw this story and it made me laugh. And I thought, again, because I'm obsessive about my audience, okay, so this was something that started off beautiful and ended up like a big old mash-up pile of poop. What does my audience experience where they start off with something really good and they end up with something really crap? So here was the resulting tweet. Your draft content before amendments and sign-off versus after the committee, got their hands on it. So this describes that experience that people have where they, a zillion people get involved and stick their oar in and add capital letters where they don't need them and tell you to add a quote from themselves. This terrible sign-off process that just depresses anyone who's a great content creator. And again, this went really well on LinkedIn as well. And, I'm not saying it's viral. It's not shaking the world up. But the kind of comments and kind of feeling I got back from this was a huge amount of people saying, thank you for representing something that I recognize. When you do this often enough, you've got people who are dying to work with you. You've got people who just want to be associated with you because you know that what you're going to get. You know you're going to get something that feels right in your life. So, yeah. The point of this session is to get you to think about, get more engagement by asking yourself, what experiences do my audience have in common? And how can I relate to that? How can I make content that makes them see that experience and recognize themselves in it? As I go into the next slide, I'm just going to warn you that there is a cat in this room and he's growling at his own tail for some reason. If you hear those noises, just ignore Gerald. He's having a funny day. So yeah, we've got a social media academy, and it's all about those kind of brand and corporate comms. But we've also got a business academy. So it's how do you promote your business and get more clients if you're a comms freelancer? So again, I was obsessing about this audience for quite some time. And on National Freelancers Day, of course, I'm going to do a bit of content that will get people to see reflected back something that they've experienced. So any of you who are freelancers here or have been freelancers might want to play this game. It does involve hitting your own head quite a bit every time you see something that happens. When a client asks you to pick your brain for a few hours and you think, that's just free work, right? Free insight. I can't pay you, but it'll be so good for exposure. I mean, that one always makes me laugh because, I don't pay my mortgage in exposure. Thanks, I'll take the money. So it's just about recognizing what will your audience experience that they want to see back with a bit of humor if you want to, or with a little bit of support, with a little bit of whatever is your style, your tone of voice as a brand. Okay. So I'm just going to say it again. Obsessive, radical, never-ending empathy with your audience is how you write a viral tweet, mixed in with some creativity. There's nothing that I can tell you that's an easy answer on how to do this. It's just about, that first step in the process is the curiosity. Keep your eye out for things that make you go, ooh, that's interesting. Oh, that made me laugh. This is fun. This is interesting as a format that I can pinch or manipulate into something that's just right for my audience. And before I finish up, I just want to tell you that 17th of September is National Social Media Managers Day. So those of you who are social media managers, I think you need to celebrate the amazing work that you do, and we all do. I think what happens with being a social media manager sometimes is that you can lose confidence in the amazing work that you're doing, especially when you might have like an auntie who says, "Oh yeah, my nephew is 15 and he can send tweets, so he could do your job." And you're like, no, it's a much more complex job than that. And we're misunderstood breed. So 17th of September is a day to celebrate all the amazing work that we do and the brilliant results that we get for organisations and for businesses. On that day, we're going to be launching the Social Media Managers Academy, which is really exciting for us at Comms Creatives. It includes our social media expert course, which is 18 modules on everything you need to know to become a social media expert, and a monthly masterclass. We've got content calendar, template content, really good stuff.
Hey, Comms Creatives. I need a comms creative in my life. The course is called Social Media Expert and helps boost social media. So good luck, and I hope you boost your social media with the Hoff. Hoff off.
Hoff off. There is no reason why I wanted David Hasselhoff to promote our course other than I just thought it would be fun, and I put it in the slides. There, that's it. Ambition achieved. Go and have a look at Social Media Managers Day website if you want to find out how to get involved. There is a blog on there, and if you'd like to contribute any material, any tips and lessons that you've learned as a social media manager, then get in touch via the website, and it's all very exciting. But that's it from me. I hope you've enjoyed a little bit of kind of maybe Twitter creative inspiration. Let me know if you love Twitter as much as I do. I'm obsessed with it slightly. I can't live without it. And any questions, I'm very happy to answer. I've got the app here, so I can go in and have a look and answer you, and I'll be here all night as well. Hey, Stuart. Great, yeah.
It's a brilliant session.
My pleasure.
I've been scribbling down notes there.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to dive straight in. I'm going to dive straight in with a question because I can see the clock ticking down. And Michael Younger wants to know, how can charities utilise similar methods when the content is more hard-hitting and sensitive?
Yeah, it's a good question, and it's not. You can use humour sometimes with charity as well. It depends on what your tone of voice is, but you can just get to know your audience and think of those two questions: what annoys them, what makes them laugh. So, thinking of a charity, it's always easy for me to think of a charity. I have a condition called psoriatic arthritis, right? So it's like an inflammatory condition that affects the joints. So if I was working for that charity, I would really get to know what gets on their nerves, what things they face day to day that they feel like they're a bit alone in. So I'd be creating content like, I don't know, that feeling when you're about to do a talk and your skin gets covered in psoriasis that morning, like that kind of stuff. It's just recognizing what they go through and let people feel like you're part of their community and you understand them, rather than just always giving them advice. And most charities, public sector brands that I work with, are obsessed with always giving answers, always giving advice, rather than just chatting with people, laughing and acknowledging some of the experiences they go through.
And the next question is from Giselle, and she wants to know, how would you coach who are afraid to step up or hesitant to use humour in their content?
I would say go easy on it, but the best way to do it is to use it in your own personal account. So get comfortable with being a bit more funny yourself, and then start bringing it into your brand's accounts, because you don't want to put your foot in it. And if you're not used to doing it, then don't test it out on a big brand that's got tons of people looking at it. So my advice for anything creative really is just use your own personal accounts and test things out there and see how you go until you're confident. Or come on my course and we'll teach you.
And Jenny wants to know, how often do you tweet to capture attention, because Twitter moves so quickly?
We don't have any particular kind of how often's, but we do try and have a little bit of a ratio. So for every time we want people to know about something, we're looking at putting 9 community posts out. So 9 engagement posts that are just about getting people chatting for every 1 post you put out asking people to do something. Because you've got to, if I want to ask anyone for anything, I've got to get to know them a little bit first and offer something before I ask for something back.
Actually, one I'm really curious to find out about is on Twitter. You absolutely smash it, and I often see that you do really well on LinkedIn. But do you change your tone of voice for the different platforms, or you just keep full on with what you're doing?
We don't change the tone of voice except for Facebook. Facebook's much more of a fun place, so we change the kind of content. So it'll be lots more like laughy. Much more humorful stuff. Is humorful a word? I don't know. Humorous stuff on Facebook and in our Facebook. It is now. And I suppose it's an awareness. So in our Facebook group, we've got the Comms Creatives Club, and there we'll have really frank discussions. So we'll ask people about things that annoy them and that kind of stuff. And it's a lot of fun because it's a private, closed group. We're not going to do that kind of stuff on a Facebook page where someone's boss might see it, or on LinkedIn where someone might, a colleague might look and say, that's a bit professional. So we give people more opportunities to look good on LinkedIn and Twitter because it's very public. And we give people more opportunities to be frank and talk about some of the more nitty gritty things about their experiences on, in a private place like Facebook.
And what was the first tweet that you did that actually really blew up for you and, put you where you are today?
I think the one that I remember is this little cartoon that I did that was the comms approval process, which I've kind of meant in some ways here. But it was kind of starting out with your nice piece of content, and then at the end, it's like a little turd where lots of people have had a go at your piece of content and it's come out rubbish. And so many people got involved in it. Like lots of journalists recognised it as part of their experience as well. So then it got a tweet by Gavin Essler, who at the time was on Newsnight. I don't think he is anymore. But, so then it reached a much bigger audience of not just my social media and comms people, but it kind of got into journalists there as well. And I just get delighted by people saying, thank you for saying something that I felt but have not been able to express before, because makes you feel less alone, doesn't it?
So we're nearly out of time, but thank you so much for coming and sharing the stage with us today. Your cartoons are amazing, by the way. So where can people follow you?
Hal Reynolds on Twitter, obviously I love Twitter, and LinkedIn, I'm just plain Helen Reynolds there. The main places. Come to commscreatives.com and have a little look around, and don't forget about Social Media Managers Day. Get involved with that, and just all the social media, you'll find me. I'm the Welsh blonde one.
Massive congratulations on your course and the launch. And if the Hoff says it's good, it has to be, right? Yeah,
exactly, yes. And I suppose I should end my session by saying Hoff off.
Yeah. Brilliant. Massive round of applause for Helen Reynolds, everybody.
Thank you.